And now I have the pleasure of introducing the Chief Commissioner, Yaakov Shabtai of the Israel Police, who is the 19th overall, the General Commissioner of the State of the Police, Israel Police. He has been a paratrooper, and it's very important. He was also one of the units who camouflaged as Arabs, and in Egypt today he was the commander of the School of Counterterrorism, the commander of the Iran police station, the commander of Judea and Samaria region, and also the commander of the border police, and now the commissioner of the Israel police. And why did I mention all that you did during all those years? Because I believe that only a person with all this experience could lay on his shoulders what you are bound to carry now, and thank God you exist. It's quite difficult after the former president, Mr. Rivlin, to speak to you. Distinguished audience, good evening. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the organizers of the conference, and I see great value in all the content matters that it discusses. In an era that is characterized by uncertainty, there's a great deal of importance for strategic planning, and I see a great proximity to the challenges of internal security. The state of Israel goes through many a storm, domestic and external, and these have a direct impact on the level of personal security of each and every one of its citizens. The police is the factor to which all those storms are channeled to, and it is responsible for providing solutions for it. Of all the law enforcement entities in the state of Israel, the police force is the most present entity in every field of life, in every one of the citizens of Israel's life. As the first responders that arrive at any scene, people call 100 when they are in distress, and it is incumbent upon us to protect the basic rights of every individual for personal safety, as befits a police force in every democratic state. The fabric of relations between the Israeli citizens and the police is a central pillar that impacts the sense of personal safety of citizens in the state of Israel. The key to this relationship is the level of trust and legitimacy felt by the public toward the Israel police. And as a person in charge of law enforcement in the state, I can say that this legitimacy of the Israel police is given to it by the public. The experience teaches us that any encounter between a police officer and a citizen impacts the sense of personal security. The way by which the single officer handles a case that he is called to intervene and realize might actually lead to the success or the failure of that task. One police officer can arrive at the scene unless he treats it properly, like in Jerusalem, it can put the whole region on fire. If I am to sum up the very essence of the police work, I would say that we must guarantee the personal safety of every citizen and the personal safety of every citizen, be they men or women, and by that protect the social resilience of this society. We operate to realize this important goal through transparency, equality, fairness, and operation according to the law only. We operate at the same time to achieve two goals. The first goal is to allow citizens to live their life in a safe, protected environment, and the second goal is to eradicate terrorism and crime and to put every offender and every criminal behind bars. When the home front turns into a front, and what happens to our country is a testimony to it, there's a growing process of transferring security responsibility almost exclusively to the Israel police. This is why every police officer in the Israel police is required to have high level of qualifications and a very sharp mental transition between the roles that are laid on their shoulders. We call it from 0 to 100, from a situation of routine where you do the regular policing work to some terror attack which automatically turns you into something totally different. Our police officers are turning into the human shield of the entire society against those who try to undermine the safe and crime-free fabric of life. This is a very hard work done 24/7, and very often people put their lives on the line. It has always been that way, and it is even more so now. Contending with the ongoing wave of protests actually placed complicated dilemmas before us. They're forced to maintain that proper balance between the natural right of the individual to protest and maintaining public order and a proper fabric of life is only one example of many a dilemma. We have always aspired to handle these protests without the use of force and allow the protesters to realize their right to get back home safe and sound. More often than not, we need to enforce the law and order, and these do not photograph well, and it impacts the feelings of all those who protest and their attitudes toward the police. I'd like to say this as clearly as possible. The Israel police is not a political body. It's never been political, and it will never be political. If there's anything that I'm proud of, is that we managed to keep Israel police outside of the political debate. It is the right of every police officer to have their opinions. We are human beings. We are citizens. And what I tell police officers is that you can discuss your opinions at home in the bosom of your family and friends. But when you leave the door with the uniform of the Israel police, with the emblem of the State of Israel, from this point on, you become a police officer, and we expect you to behave in an apolitical way, to set your opinions on the side and only operate according to the law. I'd like to ask you to enter the shoes of a police officer who stands in the middle between the protesters, and his right is to maintain the right of protest of every party and also maintain the freedom of movement and normal life of all other citizens. What goes through his mind? What does he tell his family when he gets back home from his shift? At the end of the day, we have to remember that it is the very same officer that earlier on helped in some domestic violence case, or the falling of rockets, or chasing a stolen vehicle, almost happening to us every night, or preventing with his own body the next terror attack. The recurrent violence incidents in the Arab sector do not allow me to sleep at night. And I can stand from this podium and once again describe all the efforts, the huge efforts, the many efforts that we did, beside all those achievements that we had in the prevention of bloodshed. But the reality in the last few months has been truly a tragic one. It is a tragic reality for the Israeli society in general, and in particular to the Arab society. And as the Chief Commissioner of Police, I am troubled by it. I believe that joint efforts of all the authorities in mobilizing the Arab society to collaborate is what guarantees the stop to this bloodshed. And I would like to add that recently, Israel Police has been asked to deal with many operations, whether it's the protest or prevention of terror. And what we can do is not unlimited. We're past Ramadan, we're past Miron in Lag BaOmer. In the last few days, we concentrated all the efforts of the special units of the Israel Police, the investigative ones and also the operational ones, 33 tactic units, and we all brought them back to be focused within the Arab sector. And it is our duty, it's always been, to lead and thwart and counter any attempt to harm life. I'd like to say that we ended 2022 with nearly 68 cases in which nearly a certain murder was carried out. I'm talking about using all the intel capabilities and the operational capabilities until you lay your hand that holds the gun with a bullet. So from the beginning of the year, we had 32 such cases, yet the results are truly tragic. It is incumbent upon ourselves to continue with it and to prevent any attempt to take the life of anyone. It's only by doing that will we get the trust of the public. In the state of Israel, there's only one police that aims at serving the entire population. We have to allow every citizen to have the optimal personal safety and to contribute to improving compliance with the law while striving in an uncompromising way to catch all those who decided to violate the normal fabric of life. It is very clear to everyone that police presence leads to governance. It increases the cooperation, the citizens' involvement, and fixates norms of compliance with the law. We need a very large police to allow for all that to happen, a strong police. The State of Israel needs a strong police that is equipped with all the technological measures that can be given to it by law. We witness a quantum leap in the capabilities of delinquents to operate in the online and cellular world. The technological developments among criminal organizations necessitates technological progress in the Israel police, and we should not stay behind. The damage caused following the articles published by Kalkalis that a committee headed by the Attorney General brought about the demobilization of critical police capabilities for over a year. Migration of crime to the cyber world forces the Israel police to work in this arena full force and to present to these offenders a proper deterrence with the help of sophisticated technology. There's no logic in giving the police an inferior technology to those that exist in the general market around the world. A state should give the law enforcement entities have the tools that would allow it to work in the required efficiency. The strength of the police is measured first and foremost by the human resource, and that's the human capital. As I suggested in the past, Israel police is too small for its many missions. The missions and tasks pile up, but the manpower in the police does not grow in a way that is in line with the growth in demography and tasks. A small police that lacks the manpower leads to erosion and wear and tear, and that undermines our resilience. I strive to increase the police force significantly. It is not my interest. We're talking about a national interest, and we as a life-seeking society should, based on this collective responsibility, to mobilize our best sons and daughters to serve in the police. This is where the issue of wages enters, and without having all police officers receiving a proper reward for their work, the police will never become an attractive organization for those top-quality sons and daughters of ours. It is our duty to continue to do whatever is within our power to mobilize and retain a quality workforce for the organization that impacts every aspect of life as individuals and as society alike. I'm very proud of my officers, and from this podium, I wish to say a personal thank you to the police officers, the fighters of the border police, the volunteers, the reserve soldiers, who, despite the many challenges, the distress in manpower and the intense operation in the different arenas, and the overload demonstrate a sense of mission daily. The police officers of the Israel police will continue to go to their shifts knowing that the Israeli citizens have no other police. The Israel police must continue and labor on increasing the public trust in it. The public trust in Israel police and its police officers is the most important and critical asset for the realization of our mission. The public trust trust is the most efficient measure to direct and guide behavior and compliance to the law. It is a prerequisite without which we cannot guarantee the collaboration with the public, neither in times of routine nor emergency. As the Commissioner of the Israel Police, I am sure of our capability of raising the index of trust thanks to my faith in the just cause, responsibility, and mutual caring for the entire Israeli society. Thank you all, and good luck for the conference.